Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am here live for my regular Wednesday morning video. This week is always my favorite week because this is my card class to go. So today I'm going to show you 3 different cards, all using the sophisticated Sled stamp set. And then with a $65 purchase, you actually will get from me, if you live in Canada, you will get from me a package to be able to recreate 2 of each of these 3 designs. So you get 6 cards total. I absolutely love this stamp set. This one came out a little while ago and it was hot. It sold out so quickly and it's back in stock. And so I wanted to finally do something with it and create a card class for you guys. So I hope you really like these cards and that you'll be able to stick around and watch, or if you've even got this stamp set, to stamp along with me. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop and start showing you what we've got going on here. So this is the Sophisticated Sled stamp set and dies. So it comes as a bundle or separately. I love this one. The images are really just like classic Christmas to me, and the sentiments are beautiful. I hope your days are filled with fun and laughter. Let's decorate the season with happiness. Yay all the way, good tidings, and let it snow. So just beautiful, beautiful sentiments. The dies that we have are super cool as well. They do coordinate and cut out our stamped images. But then we also have like a build your own sled. We have some extra greenery and some build your own skates. So I like that you can use the dies without the stamp set or the stamp set without the dies. It's kind of fun that way. All right, I'm going to move these out of the way. And let's get started on our first card. So the first card that I'm going to create today actually features the wreath. Oh, I should take this out of the plastic. It's got a bit of a glare on it. All right, so we're actually going to use the wreath from our stamp set to create our first card. And I've got all of my stuff here ready to go. So the base layer of this card is actually a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock that has been embossed with the Forever Plaid embossing folder. And I absolutely love this embossing folder. I've been using it on literally everything these days. So the first things that we're going to do here are pretty simple. We're going to get this layer attached to our card base, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue to do this. You could use whatever your favorite adhesive is though. So there we go, some liquid glue on there, and pop that on. Now you can definitely just emboss the whole card front, but I find that doesn't make as sturdy of a card. So I like to do the embossed layer and just glue it on. You can do this however you'd like though. All right, once we have that on, I'm actually going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to bring in just our, we have a small piece of cardstock and an even smaller piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to bring those in. And I'm going to add a fancy little touch. It might even be a little hard for you to see on the video here, but the outside edge of my base and my sentiment actually have a little gold trim there. And I did not waste a whole nice big beautiful sheet of gold foil to do that. I've got a little cheater method for you when you want that little gold flare on anything you're working with, really. We're going to grab our Versamark ink, and I'm going to start with my larger piece because I can do the whole thing at once. I'm going to take my cardstock and push it down into my Versamark ink, just like pushing the sides down, straight down into the ink pad. And make sure I get all 4 sides. And so I'm going to do all 4 sides like that, where I've literally just dipped the edges. And then I am going to grab my tray. So this tray comes in the embossing tools kit. I'm going to grab my tray. I've put some gold powder in here, and I'm literally just going to run that edge through and then tap it off. Run it through and tap it off. Run it through, tap it off, and run it through, tap it off. Oh, I must not have done that edge. Nothing stuck to it. All right, so we'll come in here. You shouldn't really do this with embossing powder on there, but we'll survive. All right, so I have now dipped all of my edges in Versamark and then dipped them into gold powder. My next step, I'm just going to put my lid on my Versamark there. My next step is to heat emboss this. So I'm going to use my hand because this is a big enough piece, but if you were doing something smaller like we're going to next, I would use the reverse tweezers to do this. So then I'm just going to come in here and heat this up. Okay, so there we go. We have now embossed the edges of this piece of cardstock with gold all the way around. Now, I did mine all in one go. I did all 4 sides and then moved on. But for this smaller piece, I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently. It's a little too tricky to hold on to this without getting your fingers into the Versamark. I'm actually going to try and take off some of that gold powder I got on here. All right. So I'm going to dip just 3 of our sides. So my 1 long side and my 2 small sides. And then on the side that did not get dipped, I'm going to hold that side with my tweezers. I'm going to do that for both dipping this into the gold and as I heat up my embossing powder. So then I'm going to do the same thing here. Just coming along, dipping that in, dip the other end, dip the other end. Oh, come on. This piece is a little bit trickier than the first one because it's a lot smaller. We have a lot less to work with. All right. So I now see that I did get a little bit more on here than I wanted. So I'm just going to come through with my paintbrush. This is an easy fix. We just wipe away anything we don't want if our edge is a little too thick. So I've only done 3 of the edges, and that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to heat up these 3 edges before I do my 4th edge. So here we go. Let's grab this. So with my 3 edges done, I'm now going to grab this from the other side. Actually, I won't do that for while I'm dipping into my Versamark. I'll just hold it for dipping. So I'm just literally pushing the edge of this straight down into my Versamark. I'm not twisting it to the side or anything. And I'm going to hold on to that. Bring back my gold tray. Dip, tap, and now we're ready to heat this one up. so now I've got my sentiment piece and my main border all done. Now I got some embossing powder on my glass tray and I heated it up, and it's all good. It just scratches off and we're ready to go. All right, so that is our first bit of embossing. We have one more little bit of embossing to do. I am going to bring back another piece of my Very Vanilla cardstock. I think I forgot to mention that before. I am using Very Vanilla for this because I'm also planning to use the Very Vanilla and black ribbon. And so I didn't want white with my vanilla ribbon. Ooh, sorry, guys. So although we no longer have thick Very Vanilla cardstock, we do still have regular Very Vanilla cardstock. So that's what I'm using here. So I've just inked up my wreath with my Versamark. Now before I go and stamp that, I should use my embossing buddy, because this is a pretty detailed image. I don't want to get gold powder where I don't want it. And then I'm going to come in here and stamp my image using my Versamark. Grab my gold powder, and I love these trays that come in the embossing editions kit, because you can literally just come in here, scoop up some powder, run it across, tap it off, scoop up some more. Just keeps everything contained. And I don't have to clean up every single time I use my powder. I just cover this. I just have a piece of cardstock that I lay over top, and I just cover it up, and it's ready to go every time I want. So kind of nice. All right. Now I've got that. I'm going to hold on to it again with my reverse tweezers, and we're going to heat up this gold wreath. There we go. We have our wreath all embossed now in gold. Such a beautiful thing. And now we are actually going to color our wreath with blends. And I love doing this because you don't even have to be very good at coloring. You don't even really have to stay in the lines too well. Because the gold, the embossing powder acts as like a resist and kind of keeps you in line. So I'm starting with a light cherry cobbler, and I'm coming in here and coloring all the bits that look round like they might be berries. And a few over here. I think I got them all. All right, so that is our berries. And then I'm going to come in with my light mossy meadow and color the leaves. And so it's just a really nice way to create a very sparkly wreath. We don't have to be very careful with our coloring. Like my pen's actually being almost guided by the gold emboss. It's fantastic. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you that my contact information is available to you to be shared as well. So if you're watching this video and thinking, oh, I wish I had that glass mat, or oh, the embossing editions kit would be a nice thing to have, you can add that to a wish list and share your wish list with a significant other who might be doing some Christmas shopping for you. We still have a month to solidly shop and know that things are going to arrive on time. So if there's anything that you kind of want on your Christmas wish list, feel free to contact me with your list, and I can help them out, or give them your list and have them contact me. Because I know things like the glass mat and stuff, it's not a necessity. It's just a luxury. And so sometimes we feel like, oh, maybe shouldn't. Christmas is the time. People love to get you things that you want and wouldn't buy for yourself. All right, I'm just going through here now with the dark mossy meadow and coloring in on top of what I've already colored some of the more round leaves. There's like some skinny leaves and then some kind of thicker, rounder leaves. I'm coloring those in with the dark mossy meadow. So now we kind of have, bring this up a bit closer, kind of have like some light and some dark green, some red berries, and it's all surrounded by that gorgeous gold. All right, so I can put away my blends now. We're done with those. And I'm going to grab my mini machine here and we're going to cut out our wreath. My plates. I'm going to pop my wreath on here and put my dies over there. There we go. All right, so when you go to line this up, there's kind of like a flat edge. So you got to find the flat edge on your image and the flat edge on your die. And that's the fastest way to line this up. Once you've figured that part out, then you just have to kind of come in and fiddle with it until it's sitting centered. Now, you might want to use some washi tape or something to hold it in place, just so it doesn't slip and slide on you as you go to put the top plate on and roll it through. All right, so there we go. And that wreath just pops out so nicely. And we're ready to attach it to our card. All right, put that die away. So if you do get this card kit, you will obviously need to own these dies yourself. I'm not going to be able to die cut things like this for you because you need to stamp them first. So make sure that if you don't already own this bundle, that that's part of your order that you place to earn this card kit. And so now I've taken a piece of ribbon and I've just tucked it around the edge of my wreath. And this part, I had to fiddle with it a lot to figure this out. To have a successful time tying a bow here, you need to wrap it around once and you actually need to wrap it around a second time and make an actual knot. Now, once you've got that knot, you can feel free to really pull it tight. You want a really small, tight knot on there before we start with our bow. Then I'm going to make my bunny ears. And we'll have a beautiful bow on our wreath. There we go. So having that knot to start, though, I found was crucial. And it can't just be like a small, I'm not committing to this kind of knot. It needs to be like the nobody's ever going to untie this tight kind of knot. All right. And then you just kind of fiddle back and forth until you get the size and shape that you want for your bow. It's just a lot of pull and tighten again until you're pleased with the size and shape. So I'm quite pleased with that now. I'm going to trim up my ends. You might want to wait till this is on your card to trim your ends, because then it doesn't float in the air as you're trying to grab the ribbon, but also you have a better sense of what size you want them because it'll be on your card and you'll see how it's fitting. But I did mine. All right, now I'm not going to attach this yet, but I'm going to get it ready by throwing some dimensionals onto the back of it. And so this wreath is large enough to fit full-size dimensionals on the back, and I am going to put 4 of them on here. All right, now that's ready for our card. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is stamp our sentiment. So I have got it on a ridiculously huge block because I am all set up for a whole bunch of card classes coming up, and I didn't want to take things off of blocks. So this is not the size of block I would recommend using. So we're going to ink up our sentiment. And now I actually find stamping sentiments like this horizontally so much easier. So now I can see the edges of my paper and come in and stamp that on there. There we go. Beautiful. So let's decorate the season with happiness. I love it. All right. Now our next step is to grab our inside piece. So I have a piece of Very Vanilla here that's going to be our inside layer as well. I shouldn't have put away that ink yet. And I've grabbed just the 3 little snowflakes from the stamp set, and I'm just stamping them in the bottom corner. You can also go ahead at this point and grab your envelope and stamp some on the corner of your envelope as well. It's always a nice little touch. All right, now I can close up my ink. Now we get to put our whole card together. So I'm going to take this piece for the inside and I'm going to glue that right to the inside of my card base. So I do kind of like building cards where like I get all the pieces ready and then it's a quick put the whole thing together. All right. So pop that in there. Okay. Then we're going to put some dimensionals onto the back of this piece that we gold embossed the edges of. So I'm going to do one in every corner as well as one in the middle. There we go. And we're going to center this onto our card front. Having the lines from the Forever Plaid embossing folder really help with that. Okay. Yeah, we've got that. Now I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. And before I actually attach anything, I'm just going to take a look at how it's all laying out. All right, I quite like that. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take the backings off my sentiment and we're going to line this up. I'm letting it kind of fall off the edge. Okay, it's not fully on our front piece. And then I'm going to attach my wreath. There we go. Just like that. And so I'm trying to get my bow sitting kind of like straight. And then even tuck it under our sentiment just a bit. There we go. Lovely. And then we finish this one up by embellishing it with some snowflakes. I have the snowflake assortment pack here. I actually have a jumble of snowflake assortment packs here. They come with 3 different sizes of snowflakes and 3 different colors of snowflakes. So each snowflake comes in, let's see if I can pull this out. Each snowflake comes in a large snowflake shape, a medium snowflake shape, and then a small snowflake shape. So we are going to use gold snowflakes on this particular card. I do recommend that when you're lifting these off of the sheets that you actually use a take your pick tool or something with a pointy edge to pick them up. Otherwise, they are prone to leaving their embellishment or their stickiness behind, their glue behind. Now, I have this lost little guy. He did leave his stickiness behind and I can't find where. So if you have a little lonesome guy like that, it's super simple to go grab a mini glue dot. I like to pop him right onto the mini glue dot and then use my take your pick tool to lift him off. And now I can use him on my card. He's been sitting lonely on my desk for a few days. So I'm glad I finally got him onto a card. All right. And then I'm going to grab a medium gold snowflake to put down here. All right. So that is our card, our first card, all finished. I'm not going to package up these snowflakes. I'm going to leave them out because we are using them on all 3 cards today. So there we go. And that's our first card. So I hope you guys like that one. It's just kind of a different take on that sophisticated sled set. I see so many people using the skates and the sled, which of course they're my favorite elements as well. But I thought, oh, this poor wreath can really be beautiful. Let's showcase it. All right. So that is our first one. Our second card kind of breaks away from that red. Oh, I should take this one out of its plastic as well. Sorry, guys. And using my favorite. Oh, thank you very much, Vidette. I'm using my favorite Christmas colors, which are Pretty Peacock and white. I just can't get enough of this color combo. It's a little bit embarrassing how much Pretty Peacock I go through in a month. Cardstock, ink, ribbon, embellishments, like you name it. But I also thought that it matched up absolutely beautifully with the bronze snowflakes, which I was having a little bit of trouble using in my snowflake assortment kit. So, oops, that's the wrong card stuff. All right, I'll put that aside for a moment. So I was having a little bit of trouble using those bronze ones, and then I decided they actually look really, really beautiful with the Pretty Peacock. And I wanted to show you kind of how I discovered that is, let me just grab it here. Stampin' Up! Has a new tool available in their online exclusives called the Color Coach. And so when I was trying to figure out what to pair my Pretty Peacock with, I went to my complementary colors, and I noticed that the Pretty Peacock complementary colors were all kind of those oranges. So when I was trying to figure out how to use those bronze kind of orangey snowflakes, I went to my color wheel, and that's kind of how I decided that it would be with the Pretty Peacock that I did it. So this color wheel, Color Coach, is amazing because it helps you line up your complementary colors, your triadic colors, your monochromatic colors, and your analogous colors, which means every time you make a card, it's going to turn out beautifully. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you. That's something new in our online exclusives, and it's a lifesaver. It takes all the guesswork out of color combos. I love it. All right, so anyways, back to our copper and Pretty Peacock card. We're going to start with our card base, and again, by just straight up gluing an embossed layer to our card front. This time though, I've embossed with, let's see if you guys can see it there, with the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. So it is just a gorgeous jumble of snowflakes and little snowballs, I guess, like little dots of snow falling. And it just takes away the plainness of just a white background without taking your eye away from whatever images or sentiments you're going to put on the front. So I love it. All right, so we've attached that. I'm going to set that to the side. The next thing we're going to do is I've got this little circle here. This is a circle cut from the Spotlight on Nature dies. And I'm just going to pull those in and show them to you. I'm sure you've seen these, but just in case. It's actually a giant set. You get 2 sheets of circle dies. So here we go with all sorts of different borders and everything. And so I went and chose, I guess it's it's the 4th one, but it's the one that'll fit on a 3-inch piece of paper that has the dots and dashes. I didn't want anything too intricate for this card. I wanted to keep it pretty simple because there's a lot of other stuff going on. So I have my Spotlight on Nature card there. I'm just going to clean up this sentiment so I can swap it out for my Let It Snow sentiment. All right, and I should clean up my snowflakes too because we're going to use them. Oh no, don't throw your stamps. All right, I'll clean those up because we're going to use them in a completely different color as well. All right, so let's swap out our sentiments here. Let it snow. Now, I really do recommend a smaller block. But if you have to use a large block, putting your image in the top right-hand corner so that when you go to stamp, it's your top left-hand corner, it's going to save you from getting ink where you don't want it and really help you line things up. So I'm going to start by grabbing my Let It Snow, inking it up, and stamping it on what we would call the left side. Now, notice I didn't try to make it super straight because as long as it's going towards the center of the circle, we can turn it to make it straight. Like, it's not a big deal. All right, so I've got that done. Now I'm going to take my snowflakes, and actually I'm going to grab just a scrap paper here because I'm going to use what we call second generation ink, which means I'm going to stamp off before I stamp my images. So I'm going to ink my snowflakes. I'm going to stamp them onto my scrap paper. Oh, a good thing I did, because sometimes when you do that, you see that you didn't have it inked very well. That's better. All right, so I'm going to stamp off, and then stamp onto my circle. So it's creating very, very light snowflakes in the background. So this is what we call second generation stamping. Okay. And I will kind of twist and turn this as we go. You don't want to end up with like it looking like a repeating pattern too much. Oops. And last one. All right. So we've got our snowflakes stamped on there. And while I've got these snowflakes out, I'm going to bring back my card base, and I'm going to stamp some on the inside of my card as well. I'm actually going to stamp these ones all the way down the edge. And so I am going to twist and turn this as I go. And I am letting it stamp kind of off the page. There we go. And I feel like I just want one more right there and one more right there. All right. So I've just done like a little border down the inside of my card. Sorry, there you go. And then I'm also going to stamp my envelope. Now, when I stamp my envelope, I'm actually going to keep these ones solid. I'm not going to stamp them off and make them light. There we go. So just, oops, sorry guys. Just a little set there on my envelope. Okay, now I'm going to put away my pretty peacock ink and put those to the side. And now we can attach this to, sorry, we're not attaching it to our card front just yet. I'm jumping the gun. We're going to grab our pretty peacock and gold ribbon. And I am going to create quite a large bow. And I'm just going to double check that that will be large enough. Yeah, that can be a bit smaller. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to trim that up there. And so I'm going to use this ribbon to create a very, very large floppy bow that we are then going to attach to the back of our circle. So making a big, large floppy bow can sometimes be easy, sometimes a challenge. We're basically just taking two edges and wrapping them around each other. Two big bunny ears. All right, now it doesn't have to be perfect. because a lot of this is going to be behind our circle anyways. But what we do want is that these ends kind of match up. Now I'm going to take this. You can use a mini glue dot or just like a swipe of Seal Plus on the back here or something. Something for our bow to stick into. And I'm going to look at this and go, yeah. So actually I can even place this on my card front. Okay, that's how I want it. And like that. So now my ribbon is attached to the back of my circle. I'm going to flip this over and put some dimensionals on it now. And so I'm kind of avoiding my ribbon because I don't want to add bulk to what I'm adding to the card. So there we go. Done that. Peel all those off. And we're going to basically center this on our card front and working to get the Let It Snow to be horizontal on our card front. All right, so now that we've done that, we can kind of come in here and work the bow, make it sit the way we want it to, and we can trim up the ends of our ribbon. So I want that one on a better little angle. That one's already on a nice angle. Perfect. Okay, so with that created, we now get to start adding other things to our card. So I am going to get a little piece of leaf here. This was cut out of Pretty Peacock cardstock, and I'm going to just attach it kind of here on a little side swoop on our circle. And I'm going to use a mini glue dot to do that. So I'm just going to come up here. Pop that one down. There we go. And I just used one glue dot. I don't need to worry too much. That's going to secure it on and it will stay in place. All right, and now we get to create the greenery for our card. So again, I'm going to clean up my block so that I can, there it is, so that I can stamp that image. Clean up my Let It Snow, and I'm going to clean up my snowflakes too while I'm at it, because I know that they're not going to be that color on our next card. All right, so I am going to swap out my Let It Snow for this beautiful little greenery with the bow and everything on it. All right, so let's see here. There we go. Beautiful. And this one I'm actually going to stamp with Memento black ink. So I'm going to ink this all up with Memento. There we go. And stamp that onto my basic white cardstock here. Gorgeous. All right. With that done, we're going to bring in our blends. I am using the Cherry Cobbler and the Mossy Meadow that I used on the first card, but I'm also bringing in Pretty Peacock for the bow this time. So to color my bow, I'm going to start with that first. I'm using Pretty Peacock, the light one, to start. Yeah, that's fine. So light Pretty Peacock to start. And I'm coloring in the whole bow. You could use either end, paintbrush or bullet tip. I am using the bullet tip today because I have not had any coffee yet or any breakfast yet. So I just don't trust myself with a big splashy paintbrush this morning. I'm going for some routine, like just get some baseline data blood work, and one of them is that glucose test. So I can't have eaten anything or drank anything other than water. It's been a very hard morning for me. I'm very much a breakfast person. All right. Then I'm going to come back in with my dark, pretty peacock, and I'm going to color in just areas that I think would have shadows, the insides of the bow, just like in there, kind of the lower edges of the bow, and like that. All right. There we go. And then if you feel like that's not blending as well as you'd like, then you can come back in and just go over it a little bit, give it a little blend together. There we go. All right, beautiful. Let's do this one as well. Oh no, did I just, oh good, that was light. Whew. Scared myself for a second. All right, so there's our bow all done up. Oh, hi, Eastern girls. Good morning. So that is our bow all colored in. We're done with our pretty peacock blends now. Now we get to have some fun with our reds and greens. So for this one, I did my light cherry cobbler again. And I just came in and gave those all a little swirl. All right. Just like that. So not too much detail on those. I think I got all of them. I'll keep these close by in case I missed one. Sometimes when I start coloring the leaves, then I start to see other things pop into my view. All right, to do our leaves, I did Mossy Meadow, and I did the light Mossy Meadow for everything. Now for these ones, I am going to use my paintbrush tip. They're just a little bit larger, and it would take a long time to color these with just the nib. All right. And so we're just coming along, coloring all of those in. Can sometimes be tricky to figure out what's a leaf and what's a background, what's a branch. Just go slow, and I just start coloring the things that I know for sure are leaves, and then go back in and fill in anything later if I need to. All right. Okay. All right, looks good to me. So now that we've got that color, I am going to take the thin tip on our dark Mossy Meadow, and I'm just highlighting that center line that's on our leaf anyways. All right, just like that. All right, there we go. Now our greenery is all colored, and we are ready to die cut it and add it to our card. So let's pull this in, bring back our plates. And I love that just like for our wreath, this one has a die that cuts out the whole image. So do the skates and everything. Like, it's such a good stamp and die set. All right. There we go. This one's pretty quick and easy to line up. All right. So we've got that done. Now we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of that and attach it to our card front. So I just did one at the top and one at the bottom. Here we go. And then I just kind of nestled this in here, even kind of lifted this greenery up a bit, kind of cradles into it, and we attach that onto our card front. Now we're going to finish this one up by decorating it with some copper snowflakes. So let's go in here, and let's see, pop that one on there. Grab a small one. And grab a medium one. And actually my medium one, I'm going to put here on my circle. There we go. All right. So that is our second card finished. And kind of with those beautiful, pretty peacock colors. So I love that. Such a fun one. All right. Our last card is by far my favorite one. It's a lot more work though. I've done a lot of the work ahead of time so that we don't have to do it on screen because there is a lot of die cutting with this one. So let's push everything off to the side. In your kit, you won't get all the pieces die cut. Sorry. You will get the cardstock to do your own die cutting, but it's just a lot of work if I was going to do all that die cutting. So you guys will need to have the dies anyways for the other two cards. So I know you'll have them for this one, and I'll just provide the cardstock for you. So we're going to start with our emboss layer. Now the emboss layers, those I will have embossed for you in your kit. That's not part of the sophisticated sled bundle, so I will do that part for you. And oops, darn it. Okay, let's scoop that up. I am going to glue this down, but I forgot, before I glue that down, I have to glue my designer series paper to this. So I've got a piece here of the Regal Distressed Patterns 12 by 12 DSP. And actually, once I get this glued down, I'll just show you that whole pack. It is stunning. I think it's my favorite Christmas paper in the whole catalog. So we'll put that on there, and our Mossy Meadow strip. So we've got these two pieces to attach to our card. So we're going to attach these, and this one I just ever so slightly let it overlap onto my DSP, but I don't want to cover too much. And now, before this gets stuck to something I don't want it stuck to, let's glue this down. All right. So there we go. So we glued DSP and cardstock to the emboss layer and then glue all of it to our card front. And now I'm going to show you this Regal Distressed Patterns paper. You get 2 of each sheet, and you've got 3 patterns. So of course, Pretty Peacock. I love it so much. That's all I've got left of that one. Whoops. Then the Cherry Cobbler with gold, and then a white with gold plaid. So it's all shiny. It's single-sided paper. You get 2 sheets of each, so 6 sheets total in the pack, and it is just beautiful. All right, can I get this back in? Nope. All right, we'll do that later. So I just wanted to share with you the Regal Distressed Patterns Designer Series paper. Love it, love it, love it. So we've got all of that added onto our card front. We're now going to build our sled. Now you've got a few ways to do this. You could use liquid glue, you can use mini glue dots, or you could be supremely lazy like me. I am going to line this up how, so you can see there's little holes on the sled front. I line those up so that the holes meet up with the bars. Okay, so once I've done that and I've got that looking like it's in place, I flip it over. I grab some dimensionals and I strategically place them so that they go on top of my pecan pie base and attach to my crumb cake top. Talk about laziness here. All right, but that is going to grab it. Now, if you're worried that these are going to get a little like fly away, now that you've got that part done, actually, let's get this one attached as well. So this piece goes across that top bar, and again, line up those circles with the pecan pie. And we're going to flip this one over. This one's a bit trickier. Oh, I've used up all my sidings. Yikes. Okay, this one I'm actually going to use a mini glue dot for. You can do it with dimensionals, but I don't have any of my little bits. So I'm going to come in here, pick up a mini dimensional, peel it up, and plop it down. All right, there we go. So that is all put together. We've actually created our little sled now and just held it together with dimensionals. So if you were worried about these little flyaways, let's put the lid on our glue. You can use the skinny tip of your glue and then just come in and put the tiniest dot of glue there now. It's just needing to hold that in place. It's not needing to hold the whole sled in place. So it just needs to be the most minuscule amount of glue. And you can do the same down at the bottom if you really feel like that's needed. And down at the bottom. All right. But this sled is very securely put together. It is not coming apart. All right. And it's also now ready to go onto our card front. We don't have to do anything else to it except for peel off the backings. So what I'm going to do is peel those backings off, and actually I'm going to grab a mini glue dot for that section. I think I've got some here. Black ones, mini glue dots, straps. Where are my mini dimensionals? Oh my goodness. 1,000 kinds of adhesive and no mini dimensionals. All right, so then instead, we'll just take the trimming here on our regular dimensionals and cut a smaller piece. All right, so I've got that on there. So I'm going to peel all these off. Oh, I don't think I showed you guys the card that we're creating. So sorry. Give me a moment. So peeled that off. I'm going to put our sled on here on kind of an angle. And I'll show you what we're actually creating. There we go. That's going to be our finished product. All right, so I've got my sled built. I've got my sled in place on my card front. And the reason I did this first is because we're going to attach some thread to create a bow on here. I find that very hard to do when my sled is kind of floating around. I need it securely attached to my card front. Now I'm going to come in here and take my thread and loop it underneath. And now I can get a sense of how much I need. There we go. And trim that. And so this is some brand new gold twisted thread from our new online exclusives that just went live yesterday. It's beautiful stuff. So I've got a little piece of that tucked underneath. I'm now going to tie a bow, or not a bow, but like do a crossover, and then tie my bow. And so my two bunny ears, and wrap them around. And there we go. And what I love about this twisted gold thread is it's not wiry, but it has kind of that wiry feel to it in that you can kind of shape it, and then it's going to stay in the shape that you put it in. So it's not flimsy and floppy like some threads. This one really holds its shape. And then I'm going to trim up my ends there. Beautiful. All right, now I have here a piece of mossy meadow greenery that we're going to attach. So you could do that with a mini glue dot or with just a dab of glue. So I'm going to grab a mini glue dot and lift up my ribbons. There we go. Pop that on there. I'm going to pull those ends up in front. There we go. And now I'm going to work on my skates. So if you guys have never seen these little skates put together, it is just pure magic. So we're going to start with our blades. Now you could put a piece of adhesive sheet on the back of these before you die cut them. And that would work very, very well. But the reason I don't is because if you don't line these up exactly perfectly, then they're stuck wrong. So I actually prefer to use the liquid glue. That way I can come in, place them, and then wiggle them into the exact spot that I want them in. So I need the wiggle room. But if you really hate liquid glue, adhesive sheets on the back before you die cut will do the trick. All right, and then come in here and do my other skate. So these are so cute. They're actually pretty quick and simple to put together as well, but mostly they're just adorable. So I've got the blades on my skates. Now I'm going to pick up my laces. I've chosen some beautiful cherry cobbler laces. And I know lots of you might do these in white to get kind of more of a traditional skate going on here, white skate with white laces. So what you do is you tuck your lace in, and then on the back side, you'll see it's there. You can just use anything to kind of hold that in place, although it doesn't really slip out. I like to just grab a dimensional. It goes over top of the white and the red, holds it all together, and gives me a way to attach my skate to my card. All right, and then my other one here. Oh, come on. Can't pick it up today. All right, we're going to tuck this in. Come on in. All right, tuck that one in, flip it around, put a dimensional on the back. All right, now to attach these guys to my card front, I am going to use the dimensionals to hold them in place, but I don't want it to look like there's just a pair of skates sitting on my sled. I want it to look like they're actually hanging there. So I'm going to grab a second piece of my gold thread. I am going to attach one end of it to the dimensional on my first skate. And then I'm going to pop my skate down, and it's holding that gold thread in place, and it's holding my skate in place. Then I'm going to loop this around my bow like that, and come down here and trim up the other end. Now my other end, I'm going to attach it to my other skate, and I then use the dimensionals to hold it onto the card front as well. So we're going to take the backing off of this. I'm going to take that end of gold thread and attach it to the dimensional behind my skate. And then I'm going to let it hang down and attach it. Now, my toes are kind of flipping up on me, so I'm just going to grab another little chunk of, like just off the trim here, just another little chunk of dimensional and tuck it under the toe to hold the toe down. There we go. All right. Beautiful. So now we have our skates hanging off of our sled, and we can add our sentiment. So I have just the tiniest little strip of basic white here. I'm going to get our sentiment onto a block. So let me just clean this up and swap it out. And we have a few different sentiments we can use here. We have Good Tidings that would fit. Let It Snow might even fit. But I'm going to use the Yay All the Way. It just seems super festive. And I don't know, going skating when I was a kid was always one of my favorites. Oh, thank you very much, Vidette. All right, so I've got my sentiment on here. I'm going to get my cherry. Oh, where did I put? Oh, there it is. Get my cherry cobbler ink. I'm going to ink up my sentiment, and then just like I did on my last card, I am going to do this vertically, not horizontally. And there we go. Oh, that stamped the way really funny. I'm going to flip this over and try that again. I thought it looked weird the way it was inked. But... All right. Awesome. Okay, so we've got yay all the way. And I'm going to get my paper snips and just trim the ends of this sentiment. All right, so that is ready to go. Now, before I put away my ink, I'm going to stamp a few little snowflakes on the inside of my card as well as on my envelope. Just a few right there. And grab my envelope. I thought I had, there it is. And just a few right there. Okay, so we've just got our envelope decorated to go with that. I'm going to put away my ink now, and we're going to attach our sentiment to our card front. So this one, again, you probably want to just use either mini dimensionals, or you can do what I'm doing, which is just cutting regular dimensionals in half. So that's just one dimensional cut in half, added onto it, and put your sentiment on the right way up. I'm just going to pop this down here. The lines on our DSP really help to line it up. And now I can embellish with my snowflakes. This time I am using the white snowflakes, so much more traditional. So let's just grab one like that, and grab one of these big ones, and I'm going to put this one up here. And let's see, do I have any mediums? I might, oh no, they're there. They're hiding on me. All right, and some medium snowflakes. Let's pop that down there. So anytime I do my embellishments, I kind of try and create triangles to keep everything a little bit balanced. And that is my third card for this card class to go. So I'm just going to bring back all three cards so you can see them. And then just recap. So this is my monthly card class to go featuring Sophisticated Sled. With a $65 order, you'll get the cardstock and ribbon bits and embossed pieces that you need to create 2 of each of these designs. So you'll end up with 6 cards. Do know that you will need your own stamp set dies and inks and adhesives. The die cut pieces from this kit won't come die cut. You'll just get the cardstock to do it. But things like our circle from Spotlight on Nature, that would come die cut for you. So I hope you guys liked this card class, and please check out my my blog at stampinwithleah.ca, or make sure to subscribe for my newsletter so that you get updates on this kind of stuff. Oh, thank you so much, Vidette. Thank you, Sarah. The peacock and brass or copper together work so beautifully. I absolutely love it, and it's such a different take on some Christmas colors. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I do a card class to go on the first Wednesday of each month. And then every other Wednesday of the month, I am live and have different kind of ordering specials and stuff, but it's mostly just to pop on and do some creative stuff with you. So I hope you guys will join me again on another Wednesday. And have a wonderful week. And don't forget to check out the new online exclusives and the 2 new kits that came out. One of them's kind of a watercoloring coloring book, and one of them's this really cool layered landscape like home decor piece. So really beautiful stuff. So go check those out as well on the Stampin' Up! Website. You can go to leahdixon.stampinup.net to see all of that stuff. So thanks so much. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.